release ever said a word about it. And it was the Democrats who could have urged President Biden's Department of Justice to go beyond prosecuting just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but they didn't do it. And so it's a fair question to ask today, why now? Why the sudden urgent interest in Jeffrey Epstein? Look, we know why. It's because the Democrats were never interested in transparency or executing justice or protecting the victims of this unspeakable tragedy before. The simple truth is obvious for everybody to see. This is a political exercise for Democrats, and it pains me to say it. I wish that was not the truth, but it is, and it's undeniable. This is as deceitful and dishonest as their pointless stunt was to shut the government down. Democrats are using the Epstein tragedy, the unspeakable evils that this guy committed with his trafficking ring and all of the abuses that they made these young women go through. They're using that as a political weapon to try to distract from their failures as a party and to try their best to try to tie President Trump somehow into this wretched scandal. The president had nothing to do with it. He's been very clear, and he has nothing to hide, and that's why he's endorsed the vote today. I suspect this vote will be probably unanimous. But here's the important point that everybody needs to understand. We have been advocates of maximum transparency, but we have also insisted that the victims be carefully protected. The Oversight Committee has been doing extraordinary work, and we've got some of the most vigorous advocates on the Republican and Democrat side on the Oversight Committee. They've been working in earnest to deliver transparency for the American people and to do it in a responsible manner. What do we mean by that? The bipartisan effort over there is already producing all the results that the discharge petition seeks and much, much more. Chairman Comer and all of these advocates over there have been releasing thousands of documents, for example, from the Epstein estate. By the way, in my view, that's been the greatest treasure trove of information because it's yielded for us Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial records, his daily calendars, and so much more. But importantly, none of that was addressed or is addressed in the legislation that's being voted on today. The estate files wouldn't even have been encompassed in that. And so it goes to show that the Oversight Committee is doing it the right way. From the very beginning, we've been insistent that this matter be handled carefully and with the utmost caution and care for the people who have been harmed. They should not be made to suffer any longer. We're talking about real people's lives at stake here, and young victims who don't want to be dragged into this political game that could get hurt further. But the Democrats are rushing the release of thousands of unsubstantiated documents that may be included in this, that are going to be in the public domain with the passage of this bill. And there are serious deficiencies in the legislation that I have noted at length, and Republicans have to work to address those deficiencies in the Senate if and when this legislation is advanced. I stood before the American public today at our press conference, and I explained in detail the dangers of the discharge petition. We have posted at my website, speaker.gov, a summary. The legal counsel, a small army of lawyers, put this together. I used to be a federal court litigator. Many of my colleagues who have spoken today were. We understand the dangers of how this was haphazardly drawn up. And among them, by the way, Mr. Speaker, before I forget, I seek unanimous consent to enter into this document into the record. It's on the website. It's entitled, How the Flaws of H.R. 4405 Could Re-Victimize Epstein's Victims, Create New Victims, and Damage the Judicial System. It is dated today. Thank you. And it summarizes just 5 or 6 of the major concerns. Among them, it fails to fully protect victim privacy. It could create new categories of victims. It potentially jeopardizes grand jury secrecy. It fails to prohibit release of child sexual abuse materials that are not appropriately defined in the legislation. It jeopardizes future federal investigations, and we have national security concerns regarding classified information. We'll put this in the record because we need the legislative record to reflect what is the legislative intent behind this vote. I used to litigate cases. We would litigate federal statutes and whether or not they could survive, and legislative intent is important, and we need to say clearly for the record, as a Speaker of the House, I'm saying to you, this legislation that will pass today is flawed and it must be amended. The question is, why didn't we amend it here before we passed it? Because the authors won't allow it. Because under the rules of the House, under a discharge petition, they have to agree to consent for the legislation to be amended, and they're not doing that. So now we rely upon our partners in the other chamber to get that done, and they need to do that. The victims deserve our utmost respect. In fact, they should be saluted for their courage. And the young women who have not come forward, who are now, some of them are middle-aged women who have not come forward, also deserve our respect, and they deserve to be protected. Republicans support transparency. We want maximum transparency. especially when it comes to disclosing the names of anybody who had anything to do with these evils, anybody who conspired with or aided in any way Jeffrey Epstein. They must be brought to justice. We want the bill to be amended so it doesn't, at the same time, violate victim privacy, create new victims, disclose the names of any whistleblower or informant, cause the release of grand jury materials or child sexual abuse materials, or undermine our national security. And if and when the Senate takes this up, we will work with our colleagues over there to make sure that these things are corrected. I'll just close with this simple thought. We've been at this a while. It's drug on for a while, but it's time for this to come to light. I expect that this will be a unanimous vote, and it will reflect what I think every member in this chamber, and I'll say this now, at least in recent days, every member of the chamber on the Democrat side, they didn't say anything for 4 years, but they're for maximum transparency now, and so is this side. But we want to do it in a respectful and careful manner so that we don't subject innocent people to further harm. And that has been the whole thing. I told all my members today I'll be voting yes on this, and I suspect almost everyone will. We'll send it to the Senate, and we hope it's corrected. Thank you for the time, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I'm yielding to Mr. Gomez for the sole purpose of making a parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Gomez is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask a point of parliamentary inquiry. Is this an appropriate time to point out that the Republicans named children's savings account in their so-called one big beautiful bill after Donald Trump, someone connected to one of the most notorious pedophiles in this country, or that the Speaker of the House just lied on the floor by stating that there was protection, there isn't protections for the victims in the Epstein bill?
The gentleman is no longer recognized. The gentleman from Maryland, you are recognized.
Thank you. I am prepared to close. I've got no more speakers on my side.
The gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No.
Gentleman from Ohio has 30 seconds.
If you could, can I inquire how much time is remaining?
30 seconds. Six minutes, 15 seconds.
Take 30 his.
We reserve.
Gentleman reserved. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I'll take the opportunity of the Speaker's presence to respond to some of the things that he said. In the very presence of the victims and the survivors who come to join us today, the Speaker said that now would be a time we should be working on urgent legislative work. Mr. Speaker, justice is urgent legislative work. The truth is urgent legislative work. The Speaker says, why now? Why now? Well, Mr. Speaker, you were the one who refused to swear in Adelita Grajova for 50 days. We would have done it 50 days ago, but she provided the 218th signature on the discharge petition. So why now? It was because of your dilatory tactics, your delay, your postponement of it. Now, the gentleman says that there are not sufficient protections. There are protections in the bill for the victims to make sure that their names will be redacted. And yet we hear even the Speaker of the House of Representatives openly inviting the U.S. Senate to start finger painting on this bill, which we have waited more than 5 months to bring to the floor. The Senate should pass the bill exactly as it's written. The President should sign it exactly as he said he would when he finally changed his mind. And the Epstein file must be released. Moreover, if the President is serious about what he's saying, he's got the power to release the Epstein file right now. Nobody's stopping him. It's within his possession. It's within his control. He can release the whole thing, and he can redact the names of the victims and others who are innocent in this process. Mr. Speaker, Speaker Johnson said that these are unspeakable evils. Well, because of the bravery and the invincible courage of the women who've joined us today, they're no longer unspeakable. They're spoken. They're articulated. The cat is out of the bag, and we know what's been going on for decades. It's been a double standard of justice, going all the way back to Alex Acosta, who later got rewarded with a cabinet appointment in the Trump administration. Alex Acosta had a 60-count federal indictment ready to go against all kinds of people for an interstate sex trafficking conspiracy with solicitation, with child sex abuse, all of it. And he traded that 60-count federal indictment for 1 count in state court. And Jeffrey Epstein ended up getting the sweetest of sweetheart deals ever on the plea bargain front. He was free from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to do whatever he wanted and continuing to perpetrate his crimes and run his conspiracy, and then he would come and he would watch TV and spend the night in jail. And it was over in about a year after the rape and sexual abuse of hundreds and hundreds of girls, and he kept going and he kept at it. We want the whole truth to come out. This is the United States of America. Even the British monarchy wouldn't put up with this. How about the American democracy? How about we say, no way, we're not going to allow this cover-up to go on for 1 day more. And I'm glad the president changed his mind after pulling out all the stops to try to get one of our Republican colleagues to change their mind, to remove their name from the discharge petition. He gave up. And I want to salute the gentlelady from Colorado from having the courage to stand her ground in the Situation Room in the White House and say, no, she wasn't going to be bullied. No. So I'm glad the president changed his mind. But let's be clear, Mr. President, you've got the power today to release the entire file. That's what you called for. That's what Pam Bondi called for. That's what Kash Patel called for. So we don't need anybody calling for the Senate to slow things down for more weeks and more months. The American people have had it. We'll reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman is reminded to direct your comments to the chair and not your colleagues. Gentleman from Ohio is recognized, and you do have 90 seconds remaining. Correction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 30 seconds to the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
The Democrat Party, with help from the dishonest media, used the Epstein files not to seek justice from the victims, but to smear President Trump. And it's sickening, quite sickening. Democrats have used the Epstein files to distract the American people from the wins President Trump and his administration have delivered for the American people for the last 11 months. I'm proud to work with my Republican colleagues on the House Oversight Committee in coordination with the Justice Department. 65,000 pages of documents related from Epstein released. What have my Democrat colleagues done? They selectively leaked and altered documents to mislead the American people. As President Trump has stated, we have nothing to hide here. I'm voting to release the files so that we can move on from this smear campaign the Democrats have manufactured. God bless
Gentleman's
Donald J.
time has
Trump.
expired. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
All right. How much time do I have to close?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank all of America for tuning in to this. I want to thank Representatives Massey and Khanna, Representative Green, all of those who have insisted upon bringing the truth forward and a reckoning with the reality of one of the worst international child sex trafficking rings ever to exist in the United States and the cover-up attendant to it. We've got the opportunity today to do justice for the victims, for the survivors who have come forward to say that the voice of the victims and the survivors must be put at the very center of our deliberations, not shunted off to the side, not submerged, not subordinated, but put at the very center. We must hear from the people who themselves were victimized by this nightmare. Now, our colleagues across the aisle seem to want to make this into some sort of partisan contest. I haven't heard so much talk about the Democrats since the Democratic National Convention. And all that we've done here is to say we want to bring the truth forward, along with a bipartisan group. We don't want the Senate monkeying around with this in order to slow things down. We want it passed in the Senate. We want it signed. And before that, if the president is true to his word and he wants to see all of this come to light, he can release it now, instead of fighting, kicking, and screaming every step along the way. But I'm glad he's changed his mind, and I hope he maintains the momentum he's got to stick with the vast majority of the American people who want to see that the truth is done here. And while he's at it, the administration could reconsider their terrible policies, gutting federal offices and programs designed to combat violence against women. The DOJ terminated hundreds of grants to police departments, defunding the police when it comes to investigating violent sex crimes and to support victims. His DOJ destroyed programs to combat international human trafficking rings. Let's get back on the side of the women. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker Johnson said it right. Why now after 4 years of doing nothing? Because going after President Trump is an obsession with these guys. Best example is John Brennan testified in front of our committee under oath, said he was not involved with the dossier. Only problem is Tulsi Gabbard declassified a report, released that report, and it said exactly the opposite. And she related a story in there where a CIA official went up to Mr. Brennan and said, we shouldn't include this in the report. And John Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Forget the facts, forget the truth, go after Trump, put it in. Same dynamic at work here. We're all for protecting innocent victims. We're all for exposing the bad guys who did bad things. But this is an obsession with the left. For 10 years, it's going after President Trump. So vote yes. Make sure the bad guys are held accountable. We all want to do that. Speaker Johnson's right. I think it's going to be unanimous. But understand what they're doing, because they had 4 years and didn't do a darn thing. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 4405? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, two-thirds being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without
Can I request a
objection,
recorded vote, Mr. Speaker?
the gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah, I'm requesting a recorded vote.
The gentleman from Maryland has requested a recorded vote. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on the motion to suspend the rules will be followed by 5-minute votes on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, adoption of House Resolution 879 if ordered, and adoption of House Resolution 878. This is a 15-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8, Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Calendar Number 47, House Resolution 879. Resolution providing for consideration of the joint resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 80, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the export of import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National Petroleum Council.
It looks like it looks like they just went and popped to the next thing. It looks like they just went and popped to the next thing. Let me see if I can find what's going on in that room right now. But yes, correct my framing. It is a passage. It is a passage. Definitely a win for the people. I want to see if they have anything else going on right now. Oh, yeah, they went, hold up. That must have been a mistake. Y'all wildin', PBS. Here, let me run it back.
Providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the export of import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National Petroleum Council to issue a report with respect to the petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia Council, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5214, to require mandatory pretrial and post-conviction detention for crimes of violence and dangerous crimes and require mandatory cash bail for certain offenses that pose a threat to the public safety or order in the District of Columbia, and for other purposes,
The question is on ordering the previous question. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Wow, I'm technology said Clay Higgins moving like Paul Heyman. That's funny. Regina says Nay keeps it open. They're waiting on someone. Willing to bet that no vote was Virginia Fox. She's definitely not one of our finer congressional hot messes. How that lady stays in Congress, I don't understand. On ordering the previous question, I agree. I agree, unloved homie. Look how fast this vote is going. Why we need 15 minutes for Epstein? This one is 5. Yes, I believe the Senate has to vote now, which is why Jamie Raskin was saying he doesn't want any changes for them to continue to delay this process. So, saying 15 minutes give time to strategize and seek an escape pod. That's funny. Monday in the water, so the Senate will vote it down. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I won't put anything past them. I mean, since you saw Jim Jordan and Mike Johnson sit there and try and cut a promo, they sat there and tried to cut a promo like we didn't watch them sit there and try and block this all year. Like they didn't try and block this all year. Like they didn't sit there and huddle and try and lean on Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene to change their vote. Like, we just supposed to pretend like whatever happens right now is the only thing that is relevant or that matters. Now, I understand that is how things are handled in Trump world, where people can't be held accountable for what happened yesterday. I understand that's how things operate in Trump world, but the rest of us live in like a normal society. It's crazy that they would even try and do that. And I'm not surprised by a lot, but I didn't expect that. I didn't expect they was going to do all that. I should have. Latasha, welcome. I appreciate you for being here. I'll be totally honest with y'all. I don't exactly know what on ordering the previous question means. I'm not sure. I don't think it takes the votes off the board that we just saw. So we can take that one to the bank. We'll see what happens when it gets to the Senate. Because Lord knows we can't trust the Senate, not even our people in the Senate. We can't even trust our people in the Senate. So I fully expect the Senate to be a mess. The instructor, supermajority in the Senate, needs 67 out of 100 senators. Yeah. That 67 is going to need to include the 8 that just snaked the entire country. So, you know. April, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody who gave gifts while we were watching the vote. I put your shout outs and your thank yous in the chat, but I'll go back at the end. But thank you, April. I appreciate that.
On this vote, the yeas are 217, the nays are 211. The previous question is ordered. The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Speaker,
For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts rise?
I ask for a recorded vote.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed. The House will be in order. The House will come to order. The House will come to order.
Throw the gavel.
For what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
To speak out of order for 1 minute, Mr. Speaker.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to recognize a man whose dedication, steadiness, and wisdom have shaped not only my work in this chamber, but the work of this institution itself. I'm talking about my Chief of Staff, Brett Horton.
I want to hear about your Chief of Staff.
There are few people who know Capitol Hill more intimately than Brett. For 15 years...
Gentlemen will suspend. The House will be in order.
For 15 years, he's been by my side. He
He
began as my counsel in 2010 and worked his way through some of the most demanding, consequential roles in the House. Policy Director at the Republican Study Committee, Floor Director in the Majority Whip's office, and for the last decade, my Chief of Staff in both the Whip's office and the Leader's office. To me and to countless members of Congress and staff,
All right.
Brett Horton has been far more than a colleague.
I'm muting him. I'll turn audio back up when he stopped talking. I should have did that with Mike Johnson. I should have did that with Mike Johnson. Hey, heads up. I got a video premiering right after this. It can't be right after it because I want to edit in some stuff. Like I want to edit in the Raskin and Mike Johnson in the beginning. So I need like 15 minutes to do that. It doesn't take long, but it just means I couldn't have the video ready before. So I'm gonna have a video premiering shortly after this is done. And then we'll take it from there. So just heads up on that. You'll be seeing some well, hold on a second. Hello? Yeah, because you know you called me when I was on live. You know you called me when I was on live. You know who that was. You know who that was. You called me while I was on live. I was going to take it. No. They hung up. because they hung up. They realized what was happening. I wanted to see where that was going to go. Epstein Files live updates as House passes bill to force release of documents. Okay. All right. That's what we said. 427 to 1. All right. What to know about the Epstein Files vote? The House nearly unanimously approved a bill that would require the Justice Department to release files related to Epstein. The bill, known as the Epstein Files Transparency Act, would compel the Justice Department to publicly release files related to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Trump dropped his opposition to the bill earlier this week. The vote was a product of a lengthy effort to force the issue in the House. GOP leaders in the Senate have not committed to bringing the bill to the floor, leaving its prospects in the upper chamber unclear. And one thing to keep in mind about all of this. Okay, Steve Scalise, stop talking.
In Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter...
All right, she's reading again. One thing to keep in mind about all of this, and I make this point pretty clear in my video. How much does that job pay from Denatra? I make this point pretty clear in my video. Trump could just release the files. Trump could just release the files. All of this, we want transparency. He did nothing wrong. We don't have to go through any of this process. From the House, it going to the Senate, and then is he going to sign it? If we were supposed to take him at his word, and I know that's an insane concept to take Trump at his word. I know how foreign of a concept that is to take Trump at his word. If we were to take him at his word, or Republicans, period, at their word, that this is all a Democratic thing and he has nothing to hide and we want to, he could release the files himself. And by the way, I got my Kamala was right. I got my Kamala was right t-shirt. By the way, I've been having some issues with YouTube with putting my merch. They've been putting me through some hoops for the merch to be on the channel, so that's why you don't see it there. But the site is still up. Like, you can still order merch, just so you don't see it on the YouTube page. You can still order the Kamala was right and the FAFO and release the files. Release the files, actually. I should have wore release the files today. But I wore that I think I wore that last week. Yeah, all of that is still available on the website. We're also going to do some sales for Black Friday. So be on the lookout for Black Friday sales. You do have to order by December 10th in order for them to be delivered by Christmas. So just keep your mind on December 10th as the date by Christmas. But be on the lookout for the Black Friday sale. And for the members, there'll be like a regular sale, like a regular discount for members. You can be on the lookout for that as well. All right, what are they talking about now?
Mr. Speaker,
No.
Council to issue a report with respect to the petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia Council, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5214, to require mandatory pre-trial and post-conviction detention for crimes of violence and dangerous crimes, and require mandatory cash bail for certain offenses that pose a threat to the public safety.
All right, so they back to trying to restrict all the rest of us. So they like back to our regularly scheduled program of putting our boot on the necks of the American people. All right, now we done with Epstein. Now we done with Epstein. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you, Miss Kelly. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Miss Kelly. Thanks for all your hard work. Jay, thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, shout out to Reese, Miss Ray, and Lady Ashanti. Thank you. Thank you. Shot of fire. Thank you. Or shade fire. Thank you. CC, thank you, Miss Ra, Moon Princess, and Kristen for all your hard work. Absolutely. Miss Ra and Moon Princess and Kristen do always killing it, along with Deshauna and Roberta and Midnight Oracle. Shout out to all the mods. Great information and funny. Thanks. Thank you, user. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for going live for this. I hate watching C-SPAN. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it. Is it just something? Is it like a pride thing where you refuse to watch C-SPAN? When you was a kid, when your parents would put on C-SPAN, that's when you knew all the fun was done? That was fun, but now it's done. My parents then put on C-SPAN. It was C-SPAN and McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour. McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour was when it was a wrap. When that came on. I remember one of them passed. I can't remember which one of them passed. I think McNeil. One of them passed, and I was like, I've watched less than 30 seconds of their show, but it impacted me deeply. My whole childhood. Same with Murder, She Wrote. You interrupted him talking about them being more than just friends. I heard him say something about whips. I need the details, freaks of the week. What? You interrupted him talking about them being more than friends. I heard him say something. Oh, you talking about whipping the... Oh, you talking about Steve Scalise. I heard enough Republican filibustering for the day. Oh, Deshauna, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Deshauna. Thank you for all your support and all that you do. I heard enough Republican nonsense for the day. I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even do it. 4th 27-1. Damn, son, where'd you find this? Thank you, Angie. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me see if I got any more messages or anything I need to read. Okay. All right. On that note, we got a dub. Let me see what they're talking about now. Are they still voting on nonsense? On agreeing to the resolution. Okay, yeah, I'll wait till they come out and talk. I'll wait till they come out and talk and make sure they still talking about some BS. I love how the Republicans came out in the beginning and talked about how they were all for this the whole time and they want to help the American people, and then voted for the release of something that Trump could release himself, and then immediately went right back to bullshit. Immediately right back to BS. They were only interrupted by the fact that Trump couldn't avoid the passage of this one thing and proceeded to use it and pivot and cut a promo about how they want to release something he could release himself. That was the only thing that interrupted them from continuing to do dirt. Wow. Oh boy. As a product of the DMV, thank you for making this fun. I try, Brittany. I try. I can't. Fun maybe is a bit too far, but I appreciate you for saying that. Welcome, Amanda. Welcome. Nathaniel, keep up the great work. Just still saying. Thank you, Nathaniel. I appreciate that. It was a couple videos in a row because I did the Paul from the Temptations and then all the breakup songs. As always, love the show, Reese. Thank you. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I just had an idea. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jonathan. I have a file of me singing that they just interspliced into that video. I'm just gonna put that file of me singing out. You're welcome, members. For the members, I'm just gonna put the file of me singing out. I should probably do that more often. No. No. That means it goes to the Senate, and the Senate gets to delay and try and make changes and give the Trump administration time to hide what they don't want to be released.
The resolution is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on adoption of House Resolution 878, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 878, resolution disapproving the behavior of Representative Jesus G. Chuy Garcia of Illinois.
Chewy.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Thank you, Cece. She said I have a voice only a mother can love. Have y'all ever seen that meme where it has somebody in the bathroom at work and it's trying to see if I have a secret talent so I can quit my job? She's trying to see if I have a secret talent. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but I have done that multiple times. Not as an adult. I haven't done it as an adult, but as a child, I would try, like occasionally I would hit a good note, or occasionally I'll be singing, I'll be like, that's not bad. And I'd be like, I think maybe, let me try and see if I really got some talent. And then I would sing and it would be trash. And then I would go back to but like every now and again, you know what I mean? Every couple years, I would try it again just to see, you know. Oh, you good, Z? We like that you're here. I like how y'all saying not chewy. Not chewy. Why y'all dragging Chewy like that? On the grid. Apparently, it's a lot of Democrats not feeling Chewy. What Chewy do? They coming to get Chewy.
On this vote, the yeas are 236, the nays are 183, with 4 answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Oh, they coming to get Chewy. I think they coming to get Chewy.
The House will come to order.
Shout out to Vermont.
The House will come to order.
I've been to Burlington.
For what purpose does the gentleman from South Carolina seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privilege of the House.
The gentleman is recognized. Just a moment. Members of the House will come to order. Chair would ask members to please take conversations off the floor.
Chewy was the one that was yelling in the beginning?
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, my House Resolution 888, censoring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett and removing her from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence for conduct that reflects the discredibility on the House of Representatives for colluding with convicted felon and offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. Whereas Stacey Plaskett, the delegate representing the United States Virgin Islands in the House of Representatives, inappropriately coordinated in real time with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in a congressional hearing in February of 2019. Whereas Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, receiving instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated after the message by Mr. Epstein, good work. Whereas Jeffrey Epstein, the Speaker of the House is not in order.
The gentleman has the floor. The chair would again ask the body to please observe decorum and keep conversations to a minimum. The gentleman has the floor.
Whereas Jeffrey Epstein was a known convicted felony sex offender, having pled guilty and been convicted for procuring a child for prostitution and solicitation, a proselyte in a plea deal in 2008, and served a 13-month prison sentence. Whereas in the course of that investigation, the FBI compiled reports on dozens of confirmed minors who credibly alleged sexual abuse by Mr. Epstein. Whereas Epstein was under further federal investigation beginning in November of 2018, 2 months before Delegate Plaskett's recently revealed text exchange during a congressional hearing, following investigative reporting by the Miami Herald detailing Epstein's controversial 2008 plea deal and highlighting accounts of his victims. Whereas Epstein was arrested in July of 2019 and charged with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy.
All right, I got this information. So Chewy retired early, allowed his chief of staff to be the only Democrat running for his seat, leading to accusations of undermining democratic processes. Thank you, Respace. Thank you, Respace. So that's what they got Chewy for. Do we need to do did I do a free Chewy shirt? You think a free Chewy shirt would be for the holidays? Free Chewy for the holidays? Or are we not on board? It was some Democrats that was on board with coming for Chewy. It was like 23 of the Democrats was on board for coming for Chewy. So, but mostly I feel like they were free Chewy though. Hashtag was free Chewy. So.
Delegate Plaskett's relationship with Epstein stands in stark contrast to the public image that she has curated for herself as a defender of justice and accountability, and while secretly collaborating with an individual whose crimes against vulnerable women and children shocked the entire nation. Whereas Delegate Plaskett's willingness to receive instructions on official congressional proceedings from Epstein, a convicted felony sex offender with deep concerning international associations, is especially alarming and inappropriate given her own past service in the United States Department of...
Okay, so let it not go unmentioned that how long it took for us to get even to this point with the House for them to vote for the discharge petition for the Epstein Files. And literally the same day they want to bring up Stacey Plaskett. Like, it's just, you know, like.
Representatives censors and condemns Delegate Stacey Plaskett.
I'm finished with him. I believe so. Stacey Plaskett is the representative from the Virgin Islands. I believe she's also the woman who was wilding about them not having representation. I can't remember exactly what debate was being had at that point in time, but she started wilding about them not having representation. And I remember I like glommed onto that just, you know, as a person that lives in DC, you know. That was of great interest to me, and I support that fully. So, Irvin, thank you very much, Irvin. I appreciate that. I want to shout out my high school honors government teacher. Without you, I wouldn't have my poli-sci master's before age 25. Thank you for all you done. Beautiful day. That's dope. Thank you so much, Treva. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Treva.
Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, received instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated afterwards with the message, "Good work." Whereas Jeffrey Epstein was a known convicted felony sex offender, having pled guilty and been convicted for procuring a child for prostitution and for soliciting a prostitute in a plea deal in 2008 and served a 13-month sentence.
I can tell you this, the YouTube censor's gonna have a field day with this live. YouTube censor's gonna have a field day with this live. All the stuff that I normally try and edit out of my actual videos would just flow freely in this one.
Controversial 2008 plea deal and highlighting accounts of his victims. Whereas Epstein was arrested in July 2019 and charged with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors, and he was later found dead in the New York Metropolitan Correctional Center. Whereas according to documents released from Epstein's estate, during a House Committee on Oversight and Reform hearing featuring testimony from Michael Cohen, disgraced former attorney to President Donald J. Trump, Delegate Plaskett coordinated her line of questioning with Jeffrey Epstein in real time over text message while the hearing was underway.
You still want that job?
Whereas Delegate Plaskett, who previously served as an Assistant Attorney General in the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Division, is known to have had extensive...
All right, let me do this while that's being, she repeating all the nonsense. Welcome, Miss Eve, Isabel, Amardell. Welcome, Jackie, Dusty Dive. I want to thank Mo Army. Thank you to Cece. Welcome, Boss Lady. Thank you to Dara Stinch. Jay Fair, thank you very much. I want to welcome Sally. Thank you to Mimi. Welcome to Vili. Thank you, Nikki. Welcome, Rochelle. Thank you, Boss Lady. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Beautiful Day. Thank you, Dusty Dive. Shout out to Regina. I want to welcome Kay. Thank you so much for being here. The instructor, thank you. April, thank you. Miss Kelly, thank you. Jay, thank you. Shade, welcome. Thank you to CC. Thank you to User. Thank you to Derek. Thank you to Hardworking Diva. Shout out to Deshauna, as always. Thank you to Angie. Welcome, Amanda. Welcome, Nathaniel. Thank you to Brittany. Thank you, Jonathan. Welcome to Irvin. Thank you, Beautiful Day. And thank you to Treva. Shout out to all y'all.
For the improprieties. Section 2, removal from House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
They still
The following
talking about
named
Stacey
member B and
Plaskett.
is hereby
They
removed
talking
from the
about
following
Stacey
committee
Plaskett
of the House of
longer than they talking about
Representatives.
Epstein.
Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Ms. Plaskett.
The resolution qualifies. For what purpose does the gentlelady from Massachusetts rise?
Mr. Speaker, I have a motion at the desk.
The clerk will report the motion.
Ms. Clark of Massachusetts moves to refer the resolution to the Committee on Ethics.
The gentlelady from Massachusetts is recognized for 1 hour.
1 hour?
Mr. Speaker, today we have finally taken a vote that recognizes the need for the survivors and victims
1 hour?
of Jeffrey Epstein to have justice and transparency. And not minutes later, the gentleman from South Carolina is filing yet another partisan resolution. I ask all of my colleagues to support this motion to refer this to the Ethics Committee, and I yield back my time.
I agree.
Without objection, the previous question is ordered. The question is on the motion to refer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
Mr. Speaker.
And the motion is not up. What
Mr.
purpose?
Speaker, I request to call the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. 5 minutes will be allowed for this vote.
Okay, so I think it sounded like she was like, y'all on some. And so what it sounded like, they went right back to BS immediately after Epstein. They tried to come for Stacey Plaskett. Oh no, first they came for Chewy. Free Chewy. No, we free Chewy, and we working on the Chewy shirts. We working on the free Chewy shirts. First they came for Chewy, then they came for Stacey Plaskett. So they immediately back to BS, right? So then the gentle lady, I'm gonna start using that in my regular life too, because I like gentle lady. So then the gentle lady from Massachusetts says, y'all back on the BS. I know y'all back on the BS. And so I'm calling for a motion that y'all on the BS. So now that's what they voting on, whether or not they on the BS. So that's why you see, that's why you see the Democrats, bam, they on the BS. That's why you see that. Y'all on the BS. Oh, see, okay, a couple of Republicans agreed they on the BS. Let me see if they stay yays. Who is it? Who is the name for the Democrats? I need to have a word with the name for the Democrats, because you know they on the BS. Hey, Colzo, this vote is whether or not the Republicans on the BS. That's what this vote is. All them Democratic no votes need to be a yay. Who is the Democratic nay? No. Who is the Democratic nay? One of these Democrats gonna have to get the hands. Okay, all right, we good. I withdraw hands and feet. From whoever the name was. Now I had a thought. To whoever it was that said that you made this fun. I can't remember who said you made this fun. Something I've been thinking about. I was talking to Miss Ray about this not too long ago, because we did a live last week for Adelita Grijalva, and that was well attended and well received. And this one is well attended and well received. And the one we did for election night was attended and well received. Now, today's on a Tuesday. I think election night was on a Tuesday. So those are my normal lives. But I know what my normal lives would be looking like. Would y'all come if I did more of these? If I did more of these lives? Or does it really have to be a special, like a moment? You know, like the Epstein petition or Adelita Grijalva. Y'all let me know if I did more lives, if y'all would watch more of these. You can come to more of these. Let me know while I how are there 3 no votes? If all the no votes go along party lines, then I think we would win this one. Oh, respace, that's a good idea. I should take a poll. I should put a poll out. But if I do it, y'all gonna have to come to it though. Don't have me out here watching C-SPAN and y'all not coming to it. Now I'm here by myself watching C-SPAN. Why are there 3 no votes right now? Okay, so somehow one of the yays went to nay. Okay, so now we would lose this.
On this vote, the ayes are 213 and the noes are 214. The motion is not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So wait a minute. So we gonna lose that with 3 no votes from Democrats?
Pursuant to Clause 2 of Rule 9, the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, and the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, each will control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina.
No, I'm
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In just a moment. Chair would ask the House.
I don't recognize that dude at all. That's my cue. Pack him up. Pack him up. Shout out to the state of South Carolina, even though their football team was trash this week. You know, my mama's from South Carolina, so I got love for the state, but they got some trash representatives. I mean, they gotta be bottom 5. But they gotta be bottom 5 between Tim Scott and Nancy Mace and this cornball. It's bad. Georgia is also very bad. Florida is also bad. That whole Louisiana is bad. I swear. SEC should not be integrated based on how they move with respect to us. But that's a story for another time. I could do a whole hour about that. Don't even get me started on that. I care for you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Welcome to Gerald. Welcome, Gerald. Sage, love your videos, Reese. Always listen to them while driving home from work. Much love from California. Thank you, Sage. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. iDiesel, welcome. Welcome to you, iDiesel. I actually had a couple things I want to talk about. Once again, we will have a Black Friday sale on the store. That is thepeoplesgetup.com. Probably would have been good if I had that banner going before the last 60 seconds of the live, but here it is. Peoplesgetup.com. We will have a Black Friday sale. Make sure you order by December 10th for Christmas, for it to be delivered by Christmas. Look out on the community tab for the information and the code for the Black Friday sale that'll be dropping shortly. I'm also going to do a Thanksgiving video about what I'm thankful for in our world in 2025, and specifically in the political space. I would love some ideas from you guys on what you're thankful for. Things like the discharge petition or Adelita Grijalva finally getting sworn in. Whatever let them fight. The Let them Fight banquet has exploded. Whatever you want. You know what I mean? Just you guys let me know. I'm gonna put some prompts for you guys to suggest things that you're thankful for. So be on the lookout for that. And then I have a video that's going to premiere shortly. I'm literally, as soon as I finish the live, I'm going to re-edit that video and put it up. So be on the lookout for that. It'll probably, I'm guessing, I don't like to premiere stuff between 4 and 7, but I don't know if I can hold it till 7. It might go at like 5, 4:35, something like that. You'll see it. You'll get the notifications for it. Be on the lookout for that. And there'll be a poll about whether or not you guys like these kinds of lives, because apparently y'all are down. So if y'all like more of these lives, I will do more of these lives. So just, there'll be a Thanksgiving poll. There'll be a poll about these lives. So be on the lookout for those. I did see that, Nikki. I definitely saw that. It'll be mentioned. Don't worry about that. Julius, greetings from Southern University Law Center grad. Proud of you, brother. Thank you, Julius. I appreciate it. Shout out to you and to Southern University. And all the people holding it down the right way in Louisiana. I appreciate you. Okay. Thank you all for coming. I see y'all at the premiere in just a little bit. Free Chewy and soak your feet.